Good morning, all. It's December 10th, 2021. It's about 5:30 in the morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it to the weekend. Today we have a couple of interesting verses. And interesting because it's only 2 verses, but each one of them stand out on their own. So, we're in chapter 3 still. We're in verse 20 to 21. So chapter 3, verse 20 to chapter 3, verse 21. And like I said, each of them stand out on their own. And I'm going to read it and then we'll talk about it. So it says, "Then the man, Adam, named his wife Eve because she would be the mother of all who live. And the Lord God made clothing from animal skin for Adam and his wife." The reason I say they both kind of stand out on their own, and the reason I wanted to focus just on these 2 verses, is because in them holds so much. So verse 20 talks about Adam naming Eve because she will be the mother of all who live. If you think about this, all through the Bible, every descendant comes from Eve. Even after the flood, even after all that, Noah still is a descendant of Eve. And so because of that, a descendant of Adam and Eve, we have sin automatically put into our lives. But if you think back a couple of verses during what God said to Eve, that one of her offspring, so one of her descendants, would crush the head of the serpent, would crush sin. And that descendant is Jesus Christ. That descendant was nailed to a cross and resurrected, defeating death and defeating sin. So it's kind of interesting that even in this moment of Adam and Eve and naming her Eve, giving her that name, there's still a tie to Jesus. And that's what we look for when we read the Bible, is a tie between what we're reading and to Jesus. The second interesting thing that I see in these verses is verse 21, where it says, God, the Lord God, so Yahweh, made Adam and Eve clothes from animal skin. That animal is the first death in the Bible. That animal dying gave Adam and Eve clothes from its skin. And what we can look at here is that everything to get life, something needs to die. So later on in the Bible, it talks about sacrificing the lamb after Passover and all that stuff. But we again can turn to Jesus as the ultimate sacrifice for our lives. The ultimate sacrifice that covers us. Like the animal skin covered Adam and Eve. There's hope in this. There's hope, and even in the midst of sin, even in the midst of chaos, God gives us life. God gives us what we need. Adam and Eve were naked. They were ashamed of being naked. Yes, there's consequences. And yes, there's downfall. But God still gave them clothes. God still gave it to them because that's what they needed. And as we go further along, we're going to see more and more of the consequence of sin. They're about to leave the garden, and after that, it's just constant chaos, really. But in that chaos, we can find hope of Jesus. In that chaos, we can still see what God gives us. So, here's my thing. Here's my question for you today. When we talk about our sin, the things we do that we don't want to do, as Paul says, but we do it anyway. We give in to temptation. I know I do almost constantly. I try not to, but that's just my nature, to give in to sin. Where do we turn and see God giving us something even though we don't deserve it? I see grace. Grace that Jesus gives us even though we don't deserve grace. He took the wrath of sin onto himself so that we can receive grace and that we can be with the Father. Where can you thank Jesus in your life today? Where can you say, you know what, I messed up, but you were there. Thank you. I want us to think about that today as we go to our Friday. You know, I know it's a couple weeks before Christmas and everything's kind of chaotic, but stop. Stop and think. Where can you thank Jesus today? Where can you say, God gave me this even though I gave into temptation, he gave me what I need. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday. I hope you guys see God and Jesus in everything you do. And I will see you guys tomorrow.